Okay. So about school.
Yeah, I've been to school. Have you been to school? I was in school
I
from
try to forget it.
age 4 to age 26, so 21 years. Just kidding. That's a school joke, because that was not good math. Sorry, that was lame. That was
we
off
all
the
know.
cuff. We'll just edit that out. No, but yeah, 4 to 26, so 22 years.
22 years.
Mm-hmm.
Was it too long?
Way too long.
That's the way I see it.
Doesn't seem too bad in hindsight now, because now it's over.
Oh,
But
it seems... Yeah.
that was a good chunk of my life. And then by the time you, get out of school and get student loans paid off, you're like, well, I'm an old man now, so
Yeah,
I don't get to enjoy it at all.
That's how it feels.
But you were in school for a while, too?
Yeah, I was. I was in school for a long time. I only started in kindergarten, though. You said you started at 4? Did you go preschool?
Yeah, I think I did preschool. It was just a babysit thing. I remember, all I can remember about preschool was, getting sand in my eye, 3 days in a row. They had a sandbox, and a kid one time was, doggy digging. And I was like, oh, my eyes. And
that was preschool.
They had, pour water in my eyes and everything like that, and it just really sucked. I remember the next day the same thing happening, being like, oh, man, the sandbox sucks. And then the third day, somebody had, a shovel full of it, and they weren't even in the sandbox. They were, inside the house, and they, got it in my eye.
Yeah, that stinks.
But, yeah, I remember it was, 3 days in a row. Or probably 3 days short. I don't know. I was, 4. But yeah. I remember it just kept happening. And it sucked.
That's like the rest of school. It just sucked.
That's like pain when you're little that you never experience again. You're like, oh, man, that really sucks. I hate getting stuff in my eyes like that, but I'll probably never get sand in my eye again. Unless it's, a little bit from wind.
Yeah.
But now I'm smart enough to, avoid those situations. If a kid walks up to me with sand and a little shovel, I'll just kick it out of their hands.
There you go.
Kids. My advice for today.
Just to kick other kids. Especially if you're bigger than them.
Yeah, if you're bigger, you own the world. And I'm not bigger than, anybody, so I'm not ruling anything. But I know my place, so. But anyways, yeah, I think we were going to talk about
which is better?
What's a charter school versus public school? Charter school. I said that weird.
I was going to say public or conventional school versus homeschool.
Yeah, when I was looking it up, I was like, oh, charter schools are pretty much like public schools. They get their funding a little bit different. That's basically it. Teachers get paid different, which is not as much. The homeschool, now that's one that has some cool statistics.
That was the thing that beat all the statistics with what I found, and it sounds like that's what you found too.
Yeah, and it's weird because I think most people, if they think about, I keep touching my face, when they think about homeschool, they're like, oh, they're weird. It's what weird people are, and if you do homeschool, you'll turn to be weird. But what I found that was interesting was, they're actually better socially than people that were public schooled.
Yeah, which is
average.
Strange. Well, not strange, but I guess more interesting. I guess it doesn't have to be strange, but...
Yeah, because I would think that's a common stereotype. You know?
Yeah.
But, it's not true at all. I don't know why it's a stereotype.
Yeah.
I don't really know too many people that have been.
I think people just come to that conclusion because it just seems reasonable that they would be less... Because the biggest thing that I hear is they'll be all socially inept.
Mm-hmm.
But that makes no difference.
They breastfed till they were 12.
Yes.
It could be something like that.
Yeah, they just have this I guess they just have this idea that homeschool kids are super sheltered and won't be able to cope with normal society.
Mm-hmm. Because they're like,
regular.
I'm dealing with other people, but I would say most homeschool people, I mean, they have neighbors. They have family.
Right.
There's tons of people for them to interact with. I just think you get less of that, like, bullying and crap that goes on in school. Like, the most foul-mouthed place you'll find on earth is middle school halls. Like, that's probably the worst place that you can go.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think, like, middle school and high school, I mean, that I can see that being detrimental to a lot of people socially.
Yeah.
Whereas school, you miss out on a lot of that. I don't know. I'm just trying to think of, like, why.
Yeah, like what you would miss. I don't know. Because it is.
Do you see that, like, stereotype that they're like, oh, they're homeschooled, but they're probably weird?
Yeah.
You ever?
Well, you just.
I don't know who started it, but yeah, it's not true. Or at least according to the data. How do they measure that though? Is there like a scientific standard for a weirdness test? Like, how weird are you? They ask you questions. Like, what is acceptable on a piece of bread? Peanut butter, jam, mayonnaise, hair.
Not necessarily together.
And then they're like, oh, hair. And then they're like, did you go to public school or were you homeschooled? And they're like, public. All right, yep. There we go. More people answered hair. That went to public school.
Because that's what they found from the lunch ladies. Public schools just got the weirdest food. So who knows what's on it.
It'd be cool to see stats on how many people had home lunches versus school lunches. Because I had home lunches until probably midway towards the end of middle school. So I actually didn't have school lunches very much. And I made a lot of my home lunches. So it was like a tuna fish sandwich. And by the time it was lunch, like all the bread was soggy. And it was like a ball of bread and tuna. I remember my lunch being that a lot. And then I'd get like a Little Debbie's Nutty Buddy. What are they called? Nutty bars?
Yeah, those peanut butter bar things.
Yeah, and then I eat it different every time. One of them I just chow down and eat it like a carrot. The other one I'd like take apart each layer of the Nutty bar.
You're one of the people that would pick it to pieces, huh?
Yeah, there's some things I eat like one way. And there's only one way I can eat it. Like Skittles, I'll never just take a handful of Skittles and eat. I can't do that. I gotta sort them into colors. And then when I eat them, they gotta battle to the death. And I eat all the losers. So I take two of them and I squish them together. And the first one to squish, I'm like, oh, I'm eating you.
That's how you do it.
And then I go to the next one and they just battle.
That sounds crazier than, the Oreo twist thing. Just to get to the center.
No, my Oreos, it's two of them on a spoon, dipped in milk. Soggy. That's the only way I eat Oreos.
Only way?
Someone's like, hey, you want an Oreo? I'm like, do you got milk? If they don't got milk, I'll be like, eh. But if they have milk, I'll eat a whole 2 sleeves. Maybe even a whole package.
If you got milk to go with it.
Yeah, if I got milk to go with it. But I usually don't drink the milk at the very end because it's like all chunky. It has tons of Oreo debris in it. That. I don't know why. I should be, but I'm not.
I like it when it's in a shake. If it's going to have chunks of stuff in it. Because I don't know about the runny milk with chunks in it.
It's probably a good way to have Oreos is in ice cream. I think that makes a lot of things better. Like the other day we were trying to get Berkeley to eat stuff. And then we had like this fruit dip that's pretty much whipped cream. It has like pudding mix and like other stuff in it, but it's pretty good. She's like, oh, maybe I'll dip the chicken in that and eat it so then I don't taste the chicken. And I was like, chicken whipped cream? That's disgusting.
Did you eat it?
No. Yeah, like whole meltdown. It's so hard to get kids to eat foods. She's so picky. I won't do it. And finally she dipped and had a little bite of a strawberry. And was like, oh, that wasn't bad. Do you want another bite? No. But yeah.
Yeah, that's how they all are.
Let's see. Maybe I'll try sharing my screen.
Okay.
Because I found this really cool graphic that had some statistics. And maybe we could just...
Let's see if it works.
Is it working? Can you see
Yeah.
my screen?
I
Okay.
can.
So yeah, this was homeschool.com, so I'm sure there's no potential for bias there. That's a .com.
Yeah.
It's based off homeschool.
No, they're
They had
totally...
nice cool pictures, yeah. But I was looking, and I have a couple other ones here. That's a .org. There's a .gov one.
Funny.
But it had some cool things.
See, it's funny because when I looked up this stuff, I actually just watched a couple YouTube videos where people were comparing them. They didn't give any specifics on, I don't think they did anyway, about which studies they were looking at. They just said, oh, most of them and 90% of all the stuff they found was leaning towards homeschooling was actually better for students in general.
Because if you look right here, it has the average percentile of scores, and homeschooling is consistently like in the high 80s. The lowest is 84, but it goes up to 89. I mean, I would say on average, it's probably 86. Whereas public school is like 50. What was this?
Does it say the sample size?
No, and I bet you can click on it and maybe get
a little more details on it.
Yeah, I'll find maybe at the very end we can look to see where they get their stats from. But it's pretty consistent to like other stats that I found. So they have all the different subtests. I'll look at that combo of all subtests, 86. Ha, that was the average. And it's less affected by external factors. This is kind of cool too. So like depending on the job the parents had, didn't make a difference. Depending on the college education of the parents, didn't make a difference. Annual income of the parents didn't make a difference. So like it takes out a lot of these other factors and confounders in it as well. So like you have an equal chance no matter what your background is. That was kind of cool.
That is cool. I think that makes things a lot nicer to know that, you know, when you're looking at education, that didn't seem to make a difference. Those factors that outside of just where you went to school.
Ah, right here. But are homeschoolers a little odd? Studies say no. So in study measuring communication, daily living skills, socialization, and maturity, homeschoolers outschooled public school kids on every level. I think one thing that can kind of bias this is if you're going to homeschool a kid, you probably give a crap about your kid. But if you're a public school kid, there's probably a lot of kids that don't have parents that don't care about them. And so we got this bigger sample population, and so we have some people that may not have parents that can spend the time with them, or parents that don't want to, and so they're sending them off to a public school, and that could confound the data, I would think.
That would be, yeah, I think that would mess up the data some. Well, and that's why I really want to know where they're grabbing their samples. Oh,
sources. Yeah, hslda.org, that's one of the ones that I was looking at earlier.
Okay. So these people, their article is just based on other articles.
Yeah, it looks like a lot of them are .coms. So maybe they don't teach you primary, secondary, and tertiary literature.
The .org doesn't seem bad.
I'd still say that's pretty low, though. But yeah, I mean, those places are probably getting it from other studies, though. But most of the things I saw were pretty consistent. So kind of made me like, oh, it'd be kind of cool to homeschool my kids. But at the same time, ain't nobody got time for that. Do you have
Feels
time
like
to get home with your kids? I don't have time.
Oh, that's
We're
tough.
doing the Upstart right now, and they just have to do 15 minutes online.
Uh-huh.
That's still tough.
I know, see, and that's, I don't know, yeah. It just depends on who you are, what your schedule is.
My daughter, my wife was like, hey, Berkeley, we gotta do Upstart. And she's like, we're not best friends anymore. You make me do Upstart. I was like, ouch.
Yeah, that seems pretty harsh. Yeah, that doesn't seem nice at all. See, that's why I wasn't even thinking of worrying about doing preschool and stuff. Because that probably would have been my thought if I could remember back then. Be like, I don't want to do any of that. It's like, I'll start school when it's supposed to start. K through 12. Although studies have shown public schools aren't that great anyway. At least in comparison to homeschool. It's funny too, because I had one brother that was homeschooled only for a couple years, I think. And he always blamed anything that went wrong in his life on the fact that he was homeschooled.
Mm-hmm.
But it's funny because if he were to look at the studies now, he should have been the most brilliant out of all of us. And maybe he is, but...
You'd have been even worse if you were public schooled.
There you go. Yeah, you would have been just a mess. Well, that's why my parents, I think, were taking him out, because the teachers didn't want to deal with him.
Yeah, I think that would be a big benefit, I would think, to homeschool. Is if you had problems, like if you had ADHD and you're in a public school and there's tons of stuff to be distracted by.
Mm.
I mean, it might be easier to go home, have a lot more one-on-one. I think that's probably one of the biggest things with homeschooling is that one-on-one attention. So it's pretty much like just having a tutor with you all the time, I would think. I don't know. I've never seen homeschooling in action. Is it just like you buy the same books and your parents just help you go through the books?
I think they're just similar books, because I think they're maybe laid out a little differently, because they know that the person teaching may not be a teacher.
Mm-hmm. It seems like
I think
a lot of the parents...
but not necessarily the same style or textbooks.
Okay. Because I know they have like standards that they still have to set and everything like that. So it's not like, I'm going to homeschool them and we're just going to have them dance 24/7 and they're going to be a professional dancer when they grow up.
They're going to watch Netflix documentaries. And that's how they'll learn everything. Oh, that would have been...
Some documentaries are good, some are terrible.
Oh, most...
But they base on them. Yeah. So it's hard to be like, oh yeah, documentary is good, but it's like, I think we're getting skewed sources and biased opinions that they jumbled together in order to... Did you see all the conspiracy theory ones? And
Oh, yeah. Well, and it's funny because actually, I had a class where we had to do documentaries, and the instructor was like, yeah, there's always going to be a bias. You try and minimize it as much as you can, but whoever's making it, there's going to be a bias.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way not to.
I think that's kind of how school is structured, and that's how they teach you to do things, though. It's like, everyone pick your topic, and then you got to find sources to support your topic, and then present it. And you got to present it really well and back up your topic really good, or you're going to fail your class. Or it ought to be like, what's a topic in general, and show both sides, and then weigh in on your decision after looking at all sources of the story. I don't know, maybe some schools do that, but none of mine did.
No. Well, I had one assignment in an English class that required that you at least look at the opposing side, and at least bring up like some of their points, and I think they have a source or two from the opposing side kind of defending that side, but then you can go back to yours. Where he didn't make us really like 50-50 everything. It was more just because it was supposed to be a persuasive essay, like you were saying, where you got to support your thesis or your idea or your opinion or whatever your topic is. And he said the way that you want to do it, whenever you present anything, you don't want to just present your topic and only support your topic, otherwise you're preaching to the choir. It's like you've always got to show the opposing side to some extent if you want to persuade people. So we didn't have to do it 50-50 where it was like make your own decision. It was still supporting our own, but we were supposed to show the opposing side and then basically say we still agree with our own. So I guess, yeah, it was an interesting thing. I guess there is a chance, though, when you look at the opposing side that you could change your opinion, but I don't know.
Yeah, maybe that's what your end, the conclusion of the study, or like your paper would be, is like, oh yeah, so after looking into this, like, I was wrong. But I think nobody wants to say that. And then also, nobody wants to say that, this is probably a gray area. There's maybe not an answer.
Oh, hello.
Hey, what's up? Hey, Amara.
So this Mississippi.
Oh, we have that one too.
You got that one? It's a good one.
You got a pink one and a purple one and an orange.
Okay, so just a second. I'll be back in just a minute with this intermission.
I'll try to be entertaining in the meantime by just looking on my phone. Hopefully we cut all this out, or else this is going to be super awkward to our 7 listeners. But maybe a shout out to our 7 listeners. Ashley, Tara, Katie, maybe Rebecca. I think we guilted her into it once. She's like, oh, I got a friend request. You have a podcast? Okay, I'll watch it. But if you don't, it's okay. Oh.
Still there?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I also think that this creates another big problem because now we have everyone's got to be one side of the coin. You're either left or right, heads or tails, black and white, whatever it may be. But I think most issues, there's not a good answer to. Or there's a lot of exceptions. And it's hard to put a specific law in place or a specific rule. Just because
everything has to be a case-by-case basis.
Yeah, everything's case by case.
Well, and it makes sense because even after looking at both sides of an issue, everyone is, like you said, going to have different opinions, and it comes down to what people are willing to, what pros and cons they're willing to deal with, depending on what's being presented, especially when it comes to policy and stuff, where it's like, if you do this, here's the good and here's the bad. If you do this, here's the good and here's the bad. And then everyone's going to decide which good and bad they want to have. Because you can't always have them together. Because the coins, even though they're two sides of the same coin, they never, are on the same side.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyway. Yeah, it makes it difficult when it comes to compromises. But at the same time, it's nice to know both sides and to have it that way. And that's why the case-by-case basis would make more sense, because every situation is different. And it's hard to, one size fits all kind of thing.
Word. I had something I was going to say, but then it left my brain.
Oh.
I'm kind of tired.
Yeah, we don't have to go too
honest.
Yeah. Well, you've been working all. Well, I worked all day, but your work was probably more.
Working all day.
Yeah. Yeah, we've been working all day.
It's hard with my new job. I'm only like doing pharmacy stuff like half the time, and the other half I'm not. And a lot of times that half of the pharmacy stuff is spent doing actual non-pharmacy stuff. So I'd say it's even less than half now. Because if I do like a class and have to teach a class, that takes away one shift, which is like 25-30% of my half. And so it's really easy to get rid of that one. If I take a vacation, that's a whole week off, and then a whole week that I don't have any other pharmacy stuff. So I think I'm out of the game, and I'm not used to it. So whenever I go do a shift, it like kicks my butt.
Oh, really?
I'm like out of practice.
Oh,
it's crazy how that works. You gotta like, and this ties in with school. So a lot of what school does is just makes it so you can sit still for 6 to 8 hours a day, and so that way when you go to work, you sit still for 60 hours a day and work on your stuff, and then go home, and then you have your life. So it's just like you're training to be an adult, which nowadays we get more tech companies where you're not doing 40-hour work weeks. They're like, you work for 8 hours, you're probably only really working like an hour.
Oh, dude, at the job I'm at right now, I'm pretty much, like today, I think I worked for maybe like a half hour. The rest of the time, because Fridays are like the best for tech support stuff, because everyone goes home. So no one wants to sit there on tech support saying, my stuff's not working, because no one's there to do anything for it. Like, they all went home. Everyone goes home early on Fridays, it feels like.
Because they're done. They're like, I just don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah, it's like, I've been doing it all week, and it's like, everyone else is gone. It kind of trickles down, because the really high boss, he leaves because he wants to and he can. Then the other bosses under him are like, well, if he's going, I don't have anyone to, help out, or all the people I'm supposed to help out are leaving too, and it just trickles down in domino effects, and everyone's just like, well, end the day a little early. Yeah, I went like all day with like nothing. I spent most of my time just troubleshooting little things with my computer because I got that new graphics card and everything. And the new graphics card, it boosted some things, but it was one of those situations where it's better than what I had, but it's not performing as well as I was hoping and with the benchmarks that I was looking at and stuff. And I was like, oh, this thing's going to be like way out there and awesome. And I got it, and I'm like, well, it's nice, but it's not as awesome as everyone was saying. Anyway, so I'm trying to figure out if there's settings and crap. So I didn't do a whole lot outside of that. Just kind of chilling. Watch some YouTube. My boss.
That would be the way to go.
Now. What?
So that's the way to go. We watched a couple YouTube videos, like the best cry ever. I don't know. Have you seen that?
Mm-mm. The best cry ever. Should we share it on this?
Says, he's like, but I love you. And then it goes to the dad. He goes, and that's like his cry.
That's it.
It's fun to watch. And there's another one that's like a voicemail of this girl that called the guy after he broke up. And she would cry. And it sounded like a race car. And so then they played race cars at the same time. Let me see. I'll pull them up. I might have to go to my phone to find the specific video. After all this time, I still love you. And it's crazy because, like, it's probably super bad of us to make fun of it, but it is a pretty funny cry.
Legit, though? Was it a legit emotional moment?
I think so. I don't know. Maybe it was something like The Onion where it's, like, not even real. Like, it was staged. And it's just
a lot of because there's a good chunk of crap on YouTube that's all staged, like a really big chunk of crap.
Okay, I don't know if you can hear this.
Okay. No, it's not coming through. Come I can't hear it.
You hear none of it?
Maybe we should do the voices.
We'll do the voices of it.
Yeah, let's try it. Which one? Yeah, you do the cry because it seems.
Maybe I just need to turn up because it's pretty like quiet on my phone or on my computer. So I'll turn it up. Anything?
Nothing yet.
Okay, alright. I'll do my best. Somewhere deep down in my heart, I still love you.
That's actually really good, John. It's synced up perfect.
Alright, so we got that video. And let's see, I'll stop sharing my screen. Oh, it says share screen and sounds. Jeez.
Oh, let's try that again.
There's a share screen, share screens and sounds. John, you suck. Okay, I got this.
Okay.
I know.
Oh, now I can hear it.
In my heart. It sounds just like me.
It does.
I still love you. See, so now I'm a terrible person. I'll see if I can find the other one because it's pretty funny. Cameron sent it to me today at work. Girl cries like a supercar.
Like a supercar. Okay.
Oh, whoever answers the phone might think we're bad people. Or, did I say phone? I meant doorbell.
Your call, I'm just calling you back to let you know that I love you and I miss you. I really want you to call me back. And I'm sorry I missed your phone call and that I know you're done. So when you get this, can you call me back?
Okay. I feel bad, legit bad for laughing at both of those, but whoever
the car one I don't feel bad about because they put it to the cars. They did it on purpose.
And it just sounds so great. I could spend years like watching nothing but YouTube. Like if that was the job where I just had to find funny videos on YouTube, maybe I should quit and that should be my job. I just gotta find a place where they need like go on and be on Tosh or what's the guy's name that does Ridiculousness? Anyways, on that show.
There's a lot of ridiculousness out there.
No, it's a show. Rob Dyrdek. He does Ridiculousness, and they just show clips from the internet. It's kind of like America's Funniest Home Videos, but now updated with YouTube instead of just home videos.
Wonder how that works. How do they get the okay to use that stuff?
I don't know. I have no idea the things on that. I know on Tosh, he'll like invite some of the people on, and they do what's called like a web redemption, and they'll reshoot it again, and this time succeed instead of fail. So I don't know if they have to go and like get rights to it and email people in order to use it.
I would imagine.
That would be the unfun part of the job.
Yeah, that's what the the producers and all the other people do. It's their job is to make sure everything's lined up, all their I's are dotted and T's are crossed.
I don't want to do that. I just want to spend all day watching YouTube and then sending them like, hey, go see if we can use this video, and sending it to somebody else, and their job is to do all that part.
Yeah,
So I'll send them like 200 videos, and then they'll use 20 of them.
You get paid what then? Like
probably a couple million. That's probably what that job would be worth.
That's it.
They want me to do it for them. So that's my asking price. But he wants me to find YouTube videos for him. A couple million a year is all I want.
You've got 2 samples in this video of what you'll find.
Psh, I do it for less. I don't know how much less though. Because if you have a pretty good job, would you like downgrade to find something? I don't know. I think
Depends
it's
on
gotta have purpose. I don't know if I would do it for actually that cheap. Because that would be, it'd be fun, but you'd feel like I gotta have purpose. I have to have something driving me. If I'm not doing anything worth value,
I agree with that.
I mean, it'd be fun. I would enjoy it, but I would doing that all the time. There'd be a time where you're just like, this isn't fun anymore. This is work. Yeah, it's not worth it. I'll go back to like helping people and watching funny YouTube videos once or twice, pay period. Unless it's a really slow day in the pharmacy, and then we can watch a little bit more.
Yeah, it depends on the day. That's for sure.
Nowadays, like, I swear every business, their business model is to be awesome, and then they get really big and get shareholders, and then they got to start cutting every penny they can.
Oh, yeah.
The easiest way to do that is like, oh, let's just cut wages and hours.
They still doing that?
Yeah, what if we invest and we start selling more? Nah, just cut wages and hours.
Well, it seems to make sense. Like, if you pay your employees more, they'll have more money to spend to buy more. I don't know. But then
That's
if you cut
what Ford did.
then they can't buy as much. Then you have to cut more.
People used to work all the time, but then Henry Ford was like, they have no time to buy our cars. So let's do 40 hours a week.
Oh,
So
that's
we
what
see something
happened.
else like that to happen, being like, hey, why do we do 40 hours a week? Let's all do like 25 hours a week. And then people have more time to go do other things, and they can go volunteer, and they can go have fun, they can go be like people. And maybe we'll have nicer people, and we won't have to like cut people off. Or they can go learn how to do a roundabout.
What?
No, I was driving today, and I had to go get some medicine for my daughter, and it was a roundabout issue. And I was just like, that's not how you use roundabout.
As in, they were beating around the bush, or like a literal roundabout with the car?
No, they like cut me off, and then they didn't yield, and so another car that was in the roundabout had to kind of like slow down so they didn't hit the person that went into it. Because the whole rules of the roundabout is the person in the roundabout never has to stop. They just keep going. And the person entering the roundabout, they have to wait until there's a spot, and then they get in and go in the roundabout. So if you're cutting people off in the roundabout, then the people in the roundabout have to slow down, and then the roundabout's useless. It's not functioning the way it's supposed to be functioning.
That's
all because we work 40 hours a week.
It is.
That's my new blame on society.
Yeah,
we work too much.
40-hour work week.
But I think retail, like, that's going to be hard to fix. Because you want to be open all the time. But if we weren't having to work so often, and most people only work from, like, let's say 10 in the morning till, like, 1 in the afternoon, and that was, like, a typical work day for most people, you wouldn't have to have businesses that stay open from, like, 8 a.m. till 11 p.m. And then people don't have to staff it. Nah.
Why?
A lot of small towns, people close down early. If you go into like a small town and it's like
they close
after 7, there's nothing open. There might be like a restaurant open or something else like
super
that.
small towns.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how it was in Manti. In Spring City, I don't even know if they ever open. They probably just open for an hour, and then they're done for the day. There's nothing in Spring City. There's a gas station. That's about it.
I don't think it's going to work, Stefan. I think if we have jobs go to like 20 hours a week, it's not going to work. Retail's going to mess it up. Everyone's got to sell. And if they want to sell stuff, they have to be open all the time.
No, they
so
don't.
They have every opportunity.
See, I think that's lame.
It is.
Because
I'm in retail.
Well, it seems like a lot of Bombay House, they're open from 4 to 10 every day.
Mm-hmm.
They've been in business forever. And they're closed Sundays. Or Saturday, or whatever, because of whatever religious things, And then the same with a company called B&H. They're in New York. They sell a lot of camera stuff, so I know a lot about them. But they're run by, I think, a Jewish family or something. And they close for every Jewish holiday, everything. And they're closed for days or even weeks at a time sometimes. And they've been in business forever. They're one of the top companies to sell the stuff that they sell. And it's crazy. And I'm I think sometimes their overzealousness to be open and be the option for everybody, I think almost puts them in a stalemate. Because it costs more money. It costs money to keep people there during those hours that they're open. And if people aren't always buying in those hours, it's you gotta start to weigh, is there enough items being sold to even pay the people that are there to keep the store open? I don't know. In some places, maybe it works out. Other times, it's I don't know if it works out as much. Like you said, small towns don't, stay open because of that. And I think
there's places in Utah where they're closed entirely for Sunday. There's places in Utah where nothing is open on Sundays.
Right.
All day. And they still do good.
Oh, what?
And they still do well.
Yeah. Let's say they haven't closed down, so it's something's working. I don't know. I think I think that's kind of just a leapfrog thing. Where people are well, we're going to do this. And the next guy says, well, I'm going to do it too. And then they just kind of, spiral into this, everybody's open all the time. And it's just no one cared. My dad would talk about where he's Sunday, nothing was open. He said he remembered the first time something was actually being promoted as, oh, we're open on Sunday. It was for just a few hours or something and weird. And he was everyone just thought it was strange in the neighborhood. What? Because it was just, that whole idea where you can...
That was a good Home Improvement.
I know, seriously.
Just wanted to shout that out real quick. Because I can't do that noise. And I wish I could. And you just did it without trying.
Yeah, I wasn't really thinking about it, but I guess it works. But you condition a society to just say, you know what? This day of the week, I don't care what day it is for the society, but it's just nothing needs to be open. Let everyone go do something else. And, people would get used to it and they adjust to it. There's no big deal. Society was working fine whenever, when companies, closed all on the same day and it didn't make a difference. It was just okay, I'll buy my stuff the day before or the day after. I can survive a day without having to run to a store for something. There's a few things like a gas station, I guess, but then most people would be well, we just fill up the day before and don't travel a lot.
Or you can have automated ones. I mean, nowadays...
Oh, yeah, automation.
See somebody there to, to do
a vending machine.
I remember listening to a podcast. I think it was Hidden Brain, maybe TED Talks. But they talked about a point in society where we had so much technology we didn't have to work. Technology produced the whole economy for us. And we just kind of lived off that. And I was like, that would be pretty cool.
That would be interesting if it was producing an economy.
But there's got to be people that like maintain the technology, but like...
Right, that's the thing, where it's like, there's always somebody having to work somewhere.
And some people like working. Like, I would like to be productive. Maybe
Right.
me being productive instead would be like having my own garden or volunteering somewhere or doing something else. I mean, it doesn't have to be something I get paid for. Just something I enjoyed. But healthcare, that's always a kink. You always need 24/7 access to healthcare. Emergency responders, police. I mean, there's some things that need 24/7 availability. Unless we want to start purging. But alright guys, there's no cops from 5 p.m. to 8 a.m. So lock your doors.
But we're thinking more the retail side of business.
Yeah.
For that kind of stuff. Because cops get paid off taxes and stuff. But retail gets paid off of, the items they sell. If they buy a bunch of stuff to sell and nothing sells, then they lose money. Cops, as long as there's taxpayers paying taxes, they're usually doing all right. Unless someone else, some shady mob dealer offers them a lot of money, then they get crooked, so I don't know. There's just no winning. But
it's like the whole, there's shades of grace. There's no right and wrong.
There you go.
No, I think economy is a cool subject. I only had one class, microeconomics, and that was it. But it was super interesting. I had a really good teacher. I would take more, but didn't have time for that.
No one got time for that?
Ain't nobody got time for that. But I could do that for a job. Go get a PhD in economics.
Come and
do research
analyst.
And heck yeah, that'd be fun.
I've heard like data analysts make a lot of money.
That would be fun too, because I could look at Excel charts all day.
Yeah, and that's what they do.
Make them all pretty colors and look at the data in a billion different ways.
Yeah, the guy I work with, said he did it for a little bit and left that job. But then he had a friend who loved that stuff, and he's making a lot of money because he just kept working his way through the company, doing different types of data analyzing. Like he was saying, what?
Data anal.
Data anal. Just kidding. I don't think it was you. Did you tell me about the guy that was his data analyst? He worked for a plumbing company, and there were like sensors across the pipes, and his job was to like monitor the sensors and see the data they were sending back and kind of look for patterns or if there were issues or different things. That's the kind of things that the data analysts would do that he was talking about, but he makes a lot of money doing that. But yeah, you look at graphs like all day.
I think jobs make anything not fun. Like you could love doing something, but then it's your job and that's like nothing you do and that's all you have to think about. It becomes less fun.
I think what
do something you love, but like anything you love can be made crappy.
It can. That is true.
Like crappy, then it turns the job crappy, or you just do it so much, or you can't do it your way because you have to do it the way your employer wants you to do. I don't know. Because you like doing video stuff, and so let's say you had a project and it was like, oh, but we're gonna take away any creativity that you have, and you're gonna have to do this like for a 48-hour binge to get it all done in time. Like it just turns things into not fun.
Yeah, and that's true. I think you can kill the fun in anything. At the same time,
I kill fun all the time. Like John, we were having fun until you came over, and now it's not fun. This podcast is going good. I was in the middle of a sentence, John, and you came in. It's not fun. You keep cutting me off, John. It's not fun. I'm just kidding.
What are you talking about? That's why people want to hear this. They want to see all those moments.
Like, this John guy's a douche. Yep, I am. My initials are JRK. Jerk. So I was destined. Just me.
Just you? What's mine? SJM. I'm a Jim. Jim. I don't know what that's supposed to be, but that's what I was meant to be then. A Jim.
Sijim. Sijim.
Shijim. I guess you could make, if you go Spanish, make the J and H sound and go shum.
Some. Wait. SH is sh. Shum.
Oh, shum.
Just kidding. It's English. It just, whatever it is, depending on the word. Like, you can live or you can be live.
What?
I saw something today, and this lady was, like, learning English, and she pulls up a map, and she's like, why are you Kansas? And why are you not Arkansas? Why are you Arkansas? It was funny, because it's like, why do you do that, English? Be so hard. I did construction for a while, and we worked with a lot of Hispanic guys, and one of them, he'd ask me a lot of questions, because while his kids were doing, like, English assignments as they're going through school, he would do that with them and try to help them, but it also helped him learn English, because it was a second language. He's like, it's crazy, it's so hard to do it, like, he's talking about, like, O-U-G-H, and he's like, sometimes it's through, sometimes it's though, sometimes it's... And he's just going through all this, and he's like, how do you know? I was like, you just memorize it.
Yeah.
You know, this word is this, and then you look at it in the context of the sentence, you're like, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because there's no hard, fast rule, and that's one thing I don't like about English. Math, there's rules. Always rules, and they follow it, because you have to, because math.
You don't
English,
have to, but...
it's like this, unless there's these exceptions. Like I before E, except after C, and like a billion other different scenarios. So like half the time.
Yeah, it really gets confusing. And it brings it back all the way around to homeschool. He was homeschooling, or not homeschooling. He was homeschooling himself while helping his kids with their public schooling. Pretty crazy. That just makes it all weird. It's getting late.
Okay, I was trying to find, there's like another, like the I before E, except after C, and also when you heinously seize your weird foreign neighbor's feisty, beige heifer. And then I before E, unless you leisurely deceive 8 overweight heirs to forfeit their sovereign, I don't know how to pronounce that word, so I'm just going to stop before I look really stupid. I always look stupid, and I just can't help it. It's probably because I'm not very smart.
Oh, don't be so hard on yourself.
Except when your foreign neighbor Keith receives 8 counterfeit beige sleighs from feisty caffeinated weightlifters. Weird. So there's like a lot of exceptions.
It sounds like it, and that's the thing that drives everyone crazy is all the exceptions. I was helping my daughter a little bit with reading, and she would read something, but the way the letters are supposed to sound, but it's like, well, in this case, I can't remember what word it was, but it's like, yeah, in this case, this makes this sound, and it's like, they just kind of look at you like, okay, you guys are all weird.
Yeah, and O-U-G-H, I'm just looking up different ways, but there's afterthought, donut, roughin, sought, drought, although, enough. Like, there's a lot of different ways.
And there's no similarity between any of them except the letters.
Yeah.
So,
that's gotta be so frustrating for anybody that's trying to learn English. Because like as it's your first language, you listen to it a lot and you kind of grow up with it, so you've heard it before. So when you see the word, you're like, oh, I'll make sense of it.
right.
But if you're learning as a second language, I don't think you get that.
Yeah,
and so
where you're trying to...
if you're just trying to like think of the rules and do it, good luck.
Yeah, that's how it feels, that's for sure. And what's even more crazy, it's like xylophone. Spelled with an X.
You'd be like if you go, there's some, what language is it? I think it's where the singer Bjork is from.
York?
Bjork. B-J-O-R-K.
No, it's York.
Is York?
I don't know. I just make it there.
But they have a hard language to speak. I wish I could think of it. I can't even think of it. I want to say Scandinavia, but I know it's not.
It's that clicking language. That's not even close to a click. There it is. Mine was more of a slosh.
I thought this...
language.
Okay, I'll go back to my first thought. So, they have like tons of consonants together. And I remember seeing it like on a show, this lady could speak that language, so they were having her like say words. And I was like, I don't even know where to even start, because like, once you get more than like 4 consonants in a row, like, I don't even know how to do that. Like earlier we were trying to do like, and do that. It's too tough.
It sounded Chinese.
My intern spoke Chinese. We went to a Chinese restaurant, and she's like, oh, you're from China? And then they started speaking Chinese.
Oh,
And
that's
I was
right.
like, that's so cool.
Are you still interning him?
Today was his last day, so he passed.
He what?
He passed.
Oh, he passed.
Easy
I didn't know what
peasy.
you said.
No, he's really good. I'm going to see if we can hire him as like an intern, because I think he'd be a really good pharmacist, so. Way to go, Alan. Way to go. And just for the record, because this blows my mind that non-paid internships exist, but he gets paid as an intern, unless he's interning for school, because then it's like a class, and you don't get paid to go to class. You pay to go to class. But if you're an intern outside of class, you get paid. So, if he was to be an intern with Walmart, they would pay him. Just throwing that out there. I don't usually stick up for Walmart, but in this case I will.
The fact that they're giving out money for interns, but yeah, they could use it.
But that's industry-wide. Everybody pays their interns in pharmacy.
Well, in that
Unless
case,
they're a student doing a rotation.
no one cares.
Egg saladly.
Egg salad, Lee?
I don't know why I always say that instead of exactly. I go egg, and then I try to think of a word that sounds like exactly, and it comes out as saladly. It's not funny. I just keep saying it. Kind of like when I do heads up 7-Up, and then instead I do heads up Sprite, and like nobody laughs. I don't even laugh. I don't think it's funny, but I just keep saying it. Or someone's like, hey, what time we're going to go? I'm like, oh, 8 o'clock, or 8, and I'll be like, o'clock? And then nobody laughs because it's not funny, but I keep saying it. I got a lot of those. But I can't help it.
Yeah, well, when you got them, you got to use it. Otherwise, what are you going to do? They'll just get bottled up in your head until you just explode.
Do you know when we vote? Is it November 6th?
For what?
There's like Prop 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then you vote for...
Is this the senators and Congress people?
Yeah, you'll vote for your U.S. Senate representative, the House.
Oh, is this where we
State
get a vote
House.
for Mitt Romney?
Yeah. So he'll be running
we'll
for the
register
Senate.
then. I was like, I don't know if I want to vote.
And there's like clerks and county attorneys, commissioner seats, county sheriff, school boards,
I don't know any of these people.
state judicial. I don't know most of them either. I'm trying to like research into it so that I can be like an educated voter, because I feel like that's something that we need as a society.
Oh yeah.
But I also said I'm really stupid, so like, what do I know, right?
Well, I think I would know plenty if I actually like looked into it, but I just don't look into it because it feels like it all kind of just comes up on you real quick.
Mm-hmm.
I started seeing ads for it, like with Google and different things where like, here's how you register to vote. And all these little things are popping up online. I'm like, we're voting for something? And then it's like, that's in, what, a month now? If it's November something? Like, in roughly a month or so. Anyway, and it's like, now I've got to crash course myself on the issues, the people, the policies, and all these things. And it's like, I don't want to do that. I'd rather watch Netflix. Anyway.
Yeah, but one of them they're doing is, you've probably heard, like, there's a Proposition 2, which is for Utah to pass the medical use of marijuana, yeah. So you can, there's a couple of different things. You can grow it for yourself for medical use, up to like 6 plants. You can get prescriptions for it and have it dispensed to you.
Did you
you can register as a facility to grow process.
All right, let's do this. Stefan.
I'm John.
Chit chat.
Chit chat. Double snap.